Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and this is Keeping It Real Debt and Budgeting. To give you some background, I am 40 years old. I work in healthcare and I make $100,000 a year in salary. And this is how I am budgeting my monthly expenses and also paying off over $40,000 of consumer debt. So if that sounds interesting, go ahead and stick around and I'll remind you at the beginning of the video, if you could give this video a thumbs up, let me know that you're enjoying my budgeting content. I am a digital budgeter, so everything goes through a digital platform. And I have another video that I can link up in the cards where I show all of my spreadsheets and how I've been tracking my budget over the past couple years. Make sure to subscribe because I do plan on paying down a lot of debt this year. And I really do appreciate the support from the budgeting community that I have found here on YouTube. Everybody is so nice and helpful. So let me go ahead and open my spreadsheet and we're going to look at my final numbers for the end of paycheck number 1 for April and then also my budget for paycheck number 2. Since I am doing the digital budgeting, I hope that you guys enjoyed last time where I did the split screen, where you were able to see the actual screen recording of my budget sheets. Makes it a little bit easier to see them through the camera. But this is my budget for paycheck number 1. This was the paycheck for March 28th. I did have almost $500 of rollover, and at the end of this, I did have to take $250 from my money market to supplement some of the items that I needed to purchase. I told you guys in my last budgeting video that our dog was having surgery and we had to spend the majority of the day in a town about 2 hours away. So we did get quite a bit of shopping done while we were there. I was also able to take and find my actual totals for the ending balances for all of my savings accounts. I have my money market. This did get lowered because I did take the $250 from that account. I have $300 in my high yield. I take $50 a paycheck into that account. I have $225 in my tax account. I'm putting $75 per paycheck into that account. My husband and I do not have any children, so we typically have a very large tax bill at the end of the year. Even though we are having the IRS take out as much as they can out of our paychecks during the year, we still do owe at the end of the year, so we like to put something away for taxes throughout the year. I have $144 in my Get Fit account. That is just another savings account at my credit union that I use for kind of play money, or like I have a car repair coming up, that the money will come out of that account. Then I do have an Acorns account that I have $12.50 per week go into, and so I started contributing into my Acorns last year, so I almost have $1,000 in my Acorns account, and so my total for my savings is the $2,400. The total for my bills for last paycheck was the $2,017, and this is where we ended with my expenses. So I did go over on my household, and I'm going over this in this video even though I'm budgeting for the next paycheck because I am taking my overages out of my availability for the next paycheck. So I did go over by about $30 on my household expenses. I went over on gas because we did have to drive 2 hours away for the dog surgery. We had to fill up our truck, and then I also filled up another one of our vehicles, and gas is getting more expensive. So hopefully I will not have to put very much more gas this week into the vehicles. I did go over on the groceries because I did a Sam's Club trip, and so that was about $130 that I spent at Sam's, so that did go over. Groceries is going to be the only category that I'm not going to subtract because if I subtracted that $180 from my budget of $400 for the next 2 weeks, we would not have enough food to eat. So I basically am eating that overage. And then I did go over on pets, but again, that is going to come out of next paycheck's budget. So I had $620 budgeted and I ended up spending close to $900. Now, medical bills, I did have some doctor's appointments, so I ended up spending $88 in medical bills, and that was also some prescriptions that I picked up. My taquitos, which is a nod to Caleb Hammer and the Financial Audit Show, that's running into a convenience store and picking up snacks. I only had $5.77. I did spend $33.72 on Amazon, and some of that does go into some business expenses as well, but I want to be transparent with where my money is going. So I had some overage on expenses and overage on miscellaneous. I never know how much my miscellaneous is going to be, so that's why I always keep a buffer in my account. So we do see a negative at $95, but of course I do not allow my bank account to go into the negative, and we'll see what my rollover was. Now, what I ended up doing is when we went a couple towns over for that day, I put all of our expenses for that shopping day onto my credit union card, and then I will be able to pay that down on next pay period because I am taking, quote unquote, from my expenses budget for the next 2 weeks. Now, I did put an additional purchase on the Capital One card. I let you guys know that we're doing some home repairs and that I might need to put some things on credit cards and then pay them off out of a different account. And that is what we're doing. We had some work done around the house for the $566.79, and I'll be able to pull that amount from our joint money market and pay that balance down. But right now, my Capital One card is at a 0% interest until January of next year. I did not put anything on the Discover card. That one is 0% interest until November. So now that we have a snapshot of how my paycheck and my week ended, let's go over to my next paycheck, which this one posted on 4/11. So my salary was $26.42.82. I did have $46.25 rollover, so my account was not negative, but I did have the $46 left in the account. So that gives us the $26.8907 to play with for the next 2 weeks. For my savings, because I always do pay myself first, I ended up transferring $300 into the money market account, which brought the balance back up to the $1,100. 50 went to my high yield, 75 went to taxes, 100 went to my Get Fit account, and then for this pay period, 30 will go into Acorns because of the $5 fee per month. I'm estimating this is where my Acorns will be. I did just check it last night, and it actually dropped a little bit, but I'm still getting about a 10% interest return on my Acorns investment. So that number I will be able to change at the end of the next 2 weeks, so we have an accurate picture of what is in my Acorns. But for right now, we're looking at the close to $3,000 in my savings. So for our bills for this pay period, we did have waste management come out, so that was $101.55. My internet is $147. We are getting fiber in our neighborhood finally, and so this hopefully will drop down before the end of the year. The internet provider that we have is basically they have a monopoly on the neighborhood, so they can charge whatever they want. Now that they know that fiber is coming to our area, they're offering a discounted rate, but you have to sign a 2-year contract, and the internet is not worth it. The internet is garbage up here. So as soon as the fiber company comes and puts all the lines underground, I will be switching, and hopefully I'll be reducing this bill by a whole lot. My water bill was $26.23. We are on septic, so that is just the water coming in. And then my Capital One, this is where I transferred the $2,800 from my credit union card, and I am making a $650 payment towards the Capital One card. And I'll skip down here to say that I'm not making a contribution to the car payment this month because the $550 for the car payment I'm going to roll into Capital One because that will pay for the vet expenses that I had prior to our dog having surgery. For our car payment, if you're new, basically my husband pays the car payment completely out of his salary, and I pay half of it, which is $550. I pay half of the car payment into a money market account, and so we are building up that $550 every single month in savings while he is making the car payment himself. We've always had the philosophy of having one car payment, and we both contribute half or more. That is how we have been able to pay down vehicles very, very quickly. So the car payment, I'm paying $550, so that means our car payment is about $1,100. It boggles my mind how expensive vehicles are. But again, we are in the position where we can easily do that. And if I need to skip a month because I need to make extra debt payments, my husband completely understands and his salary can support that car payment if need be. So I am skipping out on the car payment, but dumping that into the Capital One. I have all of my subscriptions coming out at the end of the month. So that would be Netflix, Disney Plus. I pay for Canva Premium, I pay for YouTube Music, and I also pay for extra storage on the cloud. And then I actually did get an email today that the subscription for my VPN renewed for the year, so I will have to account that into my budget as well. So that was $49 for my VPN to renew, but I will contribute that. Actually, let me go ahead and get our calculator out. And if we have 72.19 plus 49, that's going to be 121. So we can actually change this amount. So 121.19. Let's go ahead and change it now so we know what we are actually looking at. So subscriptions have gone up a little bit for this month. So our total bills is the $1,192.99. So with my expenses, I did subtract what my overages were already. So my household, I would only have about $100. My gas is about $15. Groceries, I did reset because otherwise we would not be able to buy enough food for the 2 weeks. Pets, I did decrease also. I've already placed a Walmart order, and I actually did my first Walmart pickup order. I am a go in store and shop for myself type of person, but it was just such a busy week and we couldn't leave the puppy by himself after surgery. So I did go ahead and I placed a Walmart order, and it was for the $79. And then we did pick up a little bit of groceries as well, and that was about $35. So those will already start coming out. I did end up budgeting something for myself just for snacks, $10 every 2 weeks, just to be able to run in and pick up a drink if I'm on the road. I do end up driving for work and doing home visits, and so sometimes it's nice just to pop into a store and get something cold to drink, but I am also going to invest in a really nice cooler that will stay cold if it's left in a hot car, because I do live in Florida. We are coming into summer. It is about to get very, very warm. I also do have some medical expenses coming up, not this month, but in May. And so I need to be aware that this miscellaneous category right here for medical, I will need to be aware that that is going to have some expenses coming up as well. So for our full budget here, we have $555 going to savings, the close to $1,200 going to bills, and I only have $527 allowed for expenses with $10 in miscellaneous. So at the end of this 2-week period, that should leave us with $403 to be able to roll over. And I think I do need to roll over some money into next pay period to cover some items. So I do need to be very aware of this expense right here. Again, we have some things going on around the house with some home repairs, so there might need to be some trips to Lowe's. I did redeem some rewards from a credit card, from my credit union card. Apparently, I had been stacking up all of these reward points and had no idea how to cash them in. So I did cash them in for $200 worth of like a Lowe's gift card, but I don't know when that's going to be getting to me, and we kind of need to start getting some things now. So hopefully when those gift cards come in, that is something where I will not have to be taking out of my monthly expenses. But again, we have a different budget in a different savings account for home repairs, and so I will be able to reimburse myself for that. So this is what our budget is looking like for paycheck number 2. And let me pop over real quick to our monthly, because I want to look at the full picture. This is not completely filled in yet because we have our 2 salary amounts Come on, Zoom. There we go. Our two salary amounts, the rollover that we had prior to the March. And so the entire month I had about $5,700 to play with. I was able to put $1,000 into savings, and then our ending balance for my savings should be close to $3,000 at the end of the month. Total expenses for the month totaled $31.73, and then I am filling out the expenses as we go. Now, next month, my household expenses will be $300, and that's just because I'll have a little bit of extra play in my budget, but for this month, it did need to be the $250, so I'm very aware of where we're at here, which, let me see. This is, I need to take the 154.47 and I need to add our 79.36. So this number here should actually be 233.83. So again, we don't have a whole lot of wiggle room on our household expenses. I shouldn't need to put a whole lot of gas in the vehicles over the next 2 weeks. I'm going to be mindful of groceries, and actually I need to go grocery shopping today. And then I shouldn't need to pick up anything else for the pets. The bigger expense that I picked up for the pets, we do have a rabbit, and so I needed to pick up some more hay, some more pellets, and some more bedding for his cage. And so that was mainly for the rabbit. So I should not have any more expenses on the animals. Again, I'll have to keep an eye out on the medical costs because I do have some appointments coming up. And so we're still looking good down here as far as what is budgeted. So we should have about $369 left over after everything is budgeted. And right now we have $409. So we have a little bit of wiggle room. And then at the very end of the month, I will, if I have to put anything else on the cards, I will fill out this just so I'll be able to see what I am doing, that I'm increasing my debt, which I know is counterproductive. But when you're having home repairs, we had a quote yesterday for a new AC unit, and they quoted us $22,000. So these are the things that you're trying to budget as best as you can, but sometimes things just need to go on to credit. We had our septic tank looked at, and they're telling us we need $6,000 for a new drain field. So being a homeowner is a joy, but also figuring out how to pay for a lot of these things is very, very stressful. So in the upcoming months, we might be looking at another debt added for the AC unit. My husband and I have a philosophy that even though we do have savings to be able to pay for things like this, we also do not want to be cash poor. So if we have the ability to finance something and know that we can pay extra payments and pay it off early, then we feel a lot more comfortable doing that than being cash poor, because with 4 dogs, expensive surgeries come up. We have 3 vehicles, they break. Like, we need to be able to have some extra cash laying around to be able to fix these things. But for my total debt payoff, and so this is looking at all of April, I've pretty much made all of my payments for April already. There's not anything that comes out later in the month. And so I am able to look at this picture and see that I'm still in the positive, which means that I have more of a balance now than when I started at the beginning of the year. I bought myself a new laptop, and so that accounts for that. But that number is going down compared to last month. And then the credit union card, where's this? Oh, this one has a big difference because I did transfer the balance, but unfortunately it does have a balance on it. And then my union card started with a 0 balance, but now it has this balance. And that is basically because of the balance transfer that I did. What really still bothers me, and this is the part where, like, this is my wake-up call maybe, is that so far this year I've made $11,000 worth of payments, but my debt has only gone down by $2,400. That boggles my mind as far as with interest and other things going on to the cards. I'm really curious about this number continuing to go down by the end of the year because my goal by the end of the year is to pay off personal loan number one, the Discover card, get the credit union card down to where I'm kind of revolving certain bills on that card, and then the union card would need to be gone as well. So I plan to pay off 3 debts and have my credit union card down to a zero balance every month. So that is the goal. But that is from the start of the year to now. But if I look at what I was able to do during April itself, my personal loan went from the $8,400 to the $8,100 with the regular payment. My personal loan number two went from $25,700 to $25,200 with the regular payment. My Discover card, I made over $1,000 worth of payments into the Discover card, so it went from $3,300 down to $2,200 with no new charges. My credit union card, I made $3,000 worth of payments, but that is with the $2,800 worth of balance transfer. So we went from $2,800 down to $337. I did put $470 of new purchases on there. My waste management automatically goes onto my credit card, and then I had automatically transferred that payment onto there. So that was a wash, but that was a new charge that went onto that card. Then the union card started with a zero balance. I did transfer the $2,800 onto there, plus I had the $566, which was the new charge for the stuff around the household. I am making $678 of payments onto that card this month, so my new balance at the end of the month will be the $2,700. So I started with $40,345. I made $6,000 worth of payments. I put $3,800 of new charges. Again, that is with $2,800 of it transfers, so we can take those numbers and subtract the $2,800. And then my new balances is the $38,710. So my beginning of the month, my end of the month, and my difference. So I did go down in my debt by $1,635. Again, for all of the payments that I'm putting in to these cards, I want that number to drop down a whole lot more, but these personal loans eat up a lot of interest, and then I just need to really, really hone in on what I'm doing with putting new charges onto cards and be diligent about paying myself back out of our other savings account that we have for those home repair expenses. So that is what my debt picture and my budgeting is looking like for the rest of April. I hope that you guys enjoyed, and if you have any suggestions, you can leave them in the comments down below. I would really appreciate some feedback. I know what I'm doing is not perfect, and I could be a lot more diligent about staying on budget, but ultimately I am still making my debt payments in accordance to the debt payoff schedule that I have made for myself. So even though I am putting certain things back onto the cards, or I am transferring money from savings to cover other expenses, I am still putting the amount of money I need to towards my debt. My debt schedule that I have made is very important because of those 0% cards. I need to have those debts paid off by the deadlines. Otherwise, all of that interest accrues and I refuse to pay more interest. So I do still have my debt plan working for me, and I hope to see more of my numbers falling throughout the summer when I am able to dump in some really good payments. I do have a magic month in August, and so I think in July I'm able to make some really big payments towards my cards. So I hope that everybody sticks around to see my debt continue to fall. Again, I'll ask you to hit a thumbs up on this video, subscribe to stick around for more of my debt and budgeting journey. I appreciate you guys so much. Everybody has been so wonderful. But I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!